Hey everybody, and welcome to AniBreak, the show where we talk about the week's topics in anime, manga, and video games. My name's Jason, and this week we have a few different things to talk about. We got some news on Attack on Titan for everybody in the United States. We have some news about some brand new Vocaloids from Yamaha. We're also going to have some fun with our choices for the worst live-action anime adaptations, specifically in the movies. Because if we get into the TV series, I know exactly which one beats it. But let's jump right into some news about Attack on Titan. Couple things to start off with. Those of you who are going to make it to Anime Boston this year, you're in luck. Funimation announced at Katsucon last weekend that the English dub of Attack on Titan will premiere at Anime Boston, which is taking place at the Sheraton Boston Hotel in Boston, Massachusetts from March 21st through the 23rd. Still have some time if you're on the East Coast to get tickets, and I'm sure you may be able to find a hotel room or two, so you can always look up that. Looks like Mike McFarlane is once again serving as ADR director for this dub. He also worked on One Piece and Full Metal Alchemist, so he has some good pedigree behind it. Now, you're probably like me, and I've already seen the entire series, well, the part that's been released so far, like on Crunchyroll when it was simulcast. So, are you willing to go back and watch this again in an English dub? I'll give it a shot. I'll have to listen to the first couple episodes and see if I'm willing to go through this again. Because you never know. Sometimes, if you have a really good translation, a really good writer, you can still, or you can actually re-experience a classic favorite scene all over again in a slightly different light, and you'll still enjoy it. So, those of you who are fans of Attack on Titan on the East Coast, you want to head over to Anime Boston in March. On some side notes, Kodansha made the announcement that they're going to release, what are they calling this? The Attack on Titan Colossal Edition. It's quite interesting. So, what's going on here is that they're going to actually be releasing the manga in huge, or as they're saying, colossal books for the entire set. The Colossal Edition collects the first 5 volumes of Attack on Titan. This is actually quite big. The size of the book is 7 inches by 10.5 inches. It's 1,000 pages long. Now, if you are a hardcore fan and want to pick this one up, it will be hitting stores May 27th for the low price of $59.99. 1,000 pages of manga in one single book. I guess they did get the right to call it a colossal. Speaking with some other manga news, Yen Press. I'm really happy for this announcement. Yen Press has always had great works that they licensed and brought over stateside. I've enjoyed a ton of them. And this next one, I know I will jump in from Volume 1 just because I enjoy the anime so much. They announced they picked up the license and will be distributing the manga for Excel World stateside. Initially, this was released in Japan. It was like 2010, I think it was when it first started. It was based on the light novels that came out the year before. I'm sure most of you have actually seen the 24-episode anime series back in 2012. Viz Media is going to be released, and I think the first volume's out already, or just about to come out on DVD and Blu-ray. So, but again, if you didn't want to pick it up on DVD or Blu-ray, it is streaming on Neon Alley, well, until it gets over to Hulu, as we talked about last week. But yeah, if you're a fan of this series, you're going to enjoy the manga, I'm quite sure of it, and that'll start coming out later this year. Okay, I have a few more things, news and wise and whatnot. But then I read an article a couple days ago that there is a college-oriented website from Japan called MyNavi Student. And they asked a bunch of people to rank what they thought were the biggest, the worst live-action anime adaptations out there. And for the most part, I kind of agree with the ones they selected. Things like Nana, Casshern, Yatterman, I was kind of sad to see Yamato on there because I'm looking forward to actually seeing that movie. I can understand Nana. I'm kind of sad to see that the Gatchaman was on there because the live-action adaptation came out last year in 2013. It was the only live-action adaptation of that year, if I remember correctly. And of course, it had everyone's eyes focused on it, and therefore it got thrashed. Oh well. Tons of CG, but the acting sucked. It's kind of what goes on with these adaptations. But I look at this and I go, okay, well, some of these I've seen, some of these have not. Why don't we spin this a little bit? Let's look at how we, here in the States, if maybe just me, or I've talked to a few people as well about this, thinking, what do we think is actually the worst live-action anime adaptations out there? We have quite a few to go through, and I'm quite sure you've probably seen at least one or two of these, but we're going to go through like 5 of them. We knocked it down a little bit. We don't want to spend the entire episode on this. Oh, but where should we start? Yeah, I think we should start there. Let's start off with Blood the Last Vampire. So, I remember seeing the trailers for this and went, it could be good? I thoroughly enjoyed the original, the anime, the movie, that was brought up by Production IG years ago. It was absolutely fantastic. When they said they were going to create a live-action adaptation, I'm thinking, okay, lots of blood, some vampires, but, some cool CG, and lots of action. Well, you know what? Check out the trailer here. You can see what I'm getting at. Yeah, so looks kind of cool. And then I went to go see it in the theaters. And that's where the problem started. So when CGI first started taking hold in mainstream here in Hollywood, it was some people got it right in the sense that let's use it to augment a scene. Let's use it to help a scene out. We don't need to really focus on the CG. There was the other half of Hollywood that said, screw it, we are going to go entirely CG if we can, just because we said we did. The action sequences, I will say, are entertaining as hell. But that's when it's actors, it's stuntmen doing action sequences. Then we get to the part where the company behind this movie went, you know what? We can do let's do as much as we can in CG. Usually if you have a sword fight and you have stuntmen and you want to create a realistic sequence, you have the swords, you have them act like they're sliced, you have them angled properly towards the camera, and then you use blood packs that either slices something on the chest behind some clothing, have them bite off a piece in their mouth and spit it out. You have a couple different options. I can't remember a single scene in this movie where they did that. Every single drop of blood in this movie was all CG. It was 100% unnecessary. The vampires, all the action sequences with them, could not get behind it because it was so stark of a contrast between the live action and the CG. It was just so bad. I look at this as, okay, I give them props for actually having decent talent behind this. I did like the girl Gianna, who actually played the character Saya, and she did a majority of her own stunts. I give her props on that. But one of the reasons why I place this in some of my worst anime adaptations is because of just they didn't get the feel right to me. They focused too much on the CG. They focused too much on trying to bring out a wow factor without even really consulting the original media in the first, at times. okay, it is what it is. I mean, hell, they didn't even film in Japan. It was filmed in Hong Kong and Argentina. I mean, you have a Chinese writer, a French director. The main girl, Gianna, is actually Korean. I don't think there really was any part of this that was from Japan. So, it is what it is. Oh, what else do we got here? Oh, yes. Now you're gonna start seeing a pattern here when it comes to focusing heavily on CG. Let's talk about cash earn. I loved the anime. I absolutely loved the anime for cash earn. And so when they made the announcement, we're going to create a live action version, I instantly went, oh, so this could easily be like Japan's version of like The Matrix at times when they get to the fight scenes. And okay, at times it did. But then you have to realize that the first cash earn anime came out in the 70s. So you try to take a 70s storyline and create a movie in the early 2000s. There's going to be some story problems, obviously. But the only problem is you would either try to change it slightly to try to make it work to be a little more modern. No, this one went, screw it, we're keeping the classic style, we're keeping the classic story, and you know what, let's just lightly make a connection between every character. Now, so you look at the story, and it's a absolute drag. The last 15 minutes of this movie were freaking mind-blowing because that was all the CG. Like, the first, hour and a half, they're like no budget. Okay, there's some CG backgrounds. Okay. And then the last 15 minutes, it's like, okay, we threw all our money at that part. But just so you can get a taste, here's the trailer. So I have to say this, in that trailer, about 90% of that trailer is stuff from the last 15 minutes of the movie. So there are certain scenes and certain set pieces that they use that I swore could have been just pulled out of Terry Gilliam's Brazil. By the way, if you've never seen Brazil, I probably dated myself, and you guys should actually definitely watch that movie. I'm sure it's on Netflix and whatnot. But again, the story just sucked. The dialogue and the acting were horrible. The only thing that was good was the last 15 minutes of it. And it could have been so much more. Like the newly revamped anime series from last season, or a couple seasons ago, was fantastic. Why couldn't they have done something like that with the live action? And I know budget and writing, they want to focus on, the CG aspect of it, but come on. These live action adaptations can be more than just CG fan service. Let's just call it that for what it is. But yeah, it could have been great. Cash in the movie. It's available somewhere. Or you can probably go on YouTube and find the last 15 minutes. That's all you need to see, and leave it at that. Oh, what else? Okay, now I'm really going to date myself on this one. Let's talk Devilman. Devilman was, to some people, the epitome of 70s horror anime and manga. Gon, the guy, the original mangaka, did some fantastic work with this when it first came out. I mean, if you can probably find the manga at places, you can probably find the anime in certain places. It may not have just it doesn't have probably the bite that it used to have, but you know what? Times change, people get desensitized, and people move on from there. When they're going to make this movie in the early 2000s, I think it was 2004 when this movie came out, it had a huge budget. I mean, it was kind of surprising how large the budget was for this. But then when this movie came out, it felt like something that sci-fi would pass on. Like the Sci-Fi Channel we know all know is now recently dubbed the king of B movies thanks to Sharknado. This thing I would put lower than Sharknado, and you guys know my thoughts on that. The CG on this, and again, you see this pattern here, is probably one of the worst I've seen. Especially when, hey, look, you have this giant demon in front of you, and he's trying to go against Satan. And what do you do for the voice? Oh, you're going to use the actor's voice. Or you're going to try to beef it up and make it sound really, huge and, menacing? No. It's literally like someone was drunk and just hit record, for their own fan dub of this movie, but it's the actual legit version. I could not watch this in one sitting. Now that being said, they did try to fit many points, fan favorite points from the manga in this one movie, and to try to tie it all together, it was just like, and this happened, and then it'd be like, just fast forward to this date and time. That's all they pretty much did for Devilman. And I do have to make one more point about the CG, is that when you would have a CG character face an actual human, an actor or an actress, in the same scene, I could have sworn that I saw like a tennis ball flying around or something like that. They just did like a copy and paste over the scene itself, to the point where I was like, you didn't even try on this, did you? So it's just pure CGI chaos. I can't even say that the final scene between Devilman and Satan's really all that good. You kind of, you already know what's happening. You already, you know what's coming. You can't even stand the acting, even if you don't even understand the language. Their body language is just, it was just bad. So, I mean, I'm kind of sad I even attempted to watch this movie. And we're not even at the worst two yet. Those are coming up right now. You know what? I'm not even going to say the name of this next one until after you guys watch the trailer. I was so surprised. I found this movie on VHS of all things. About 4 or 5 years ago, and then someone had a DVD rip of it, and I sat down and watched it, and oh my god, I could not believe this actually was created and shown in theaters. Yeah, here you go, enjoy if you can. Yes, they actually made here in the States an adaptation of Fist of the North Star. This was released back in 1995. So, like, I think just shortly after this we had, like, the Kevin Sorbo years. You also had the first Blade movie, so... Yeah, you look at this and I'm like, there is absolutely fracking nothing in this movie that even hints, except for the title. I mean, I thought that maybe Malcolm McDowell would actually be decent in this. No, I'm sorry. This thing is just, oh my god, it's almost at the point where it's so bad, it's good. If you ever get to that point, you have a few of those movies and direct-to-DVD bits I'm sure you have in your collection. But yeah, like, you watch this, and like, the first thing when I first watched this coming to mind was like, there can be only one. Oh wait, this is not Highlander. Okay, we should probably use a different soundtrack and camera angles, and yeah. You would think that, you know, one of the classic things that was part of the anime and the manga was, you know, gratuitous body explosions. You are already dead. Yeah, stuff, just random stuff. Even like, give me at least one head explosion. That's classic. Fist of the North Star. No, we just get basic martial arts battles. Mainly kickboxing. I mean, let's face it, this is not Kill Bill by any means of the imagination. So, to people who have never seen Fist of the North Star and enjoy cheesy B movies, they'll probably enjoy this. To someone who's actually watched and enjoyed the anime or read the manga, you look at this and go, what the ever-living hell was this? I mean, yeah, again, your only attempt of being a saving grace was Malcolm McDowell, and he can only do so much compared to with what he's given with the script. So, and yes, Sega fan, that is Chris Penn, Sean Penn's brother, on the poster. Yep. So, I mean, we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, even below the bottom of the barrel for some of these people. But yeah, this came out back in 1995. It is so bad, it's good. And oh, by the way, it's available. It's been uploaded several times in its entirety on YouTube. You can go check this out. And let's get to the number one. The number one worst out there that I have ever seen, US or Japan, for a live-action movie adaptation is... Oh, no, wait, that's not it. No, I'm sorry about that. No, it's actually Dragon Ball Evolution. You guys freaking knew it. You guys probably figured this out the second we were discussing worst anime adaptations. You look at this, and every single time that some little piece of information was released, whether it be a screenshot, part of the script, anybody that was attached to this, they were saying, yeah, this is going to be amazing. When you have the original creator trying to spin a conversation about this movie as, it's interesting how they created their own Dragon Ball universe, basically trying to, as nice as possible, separate themselves as far as hell away from this movie as possible. But yeah, I look at this, and I mean, okay, put it this way. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you try to change in this movie. Whether the bad location, the horrible CG, which is wrong. I'm kind of sad for ILM. The god-awful acting, the changing of everything about Dragon Ball. Oh, and... no. Just no. No. Yeah. Okay, let me rephrase that. I have sat through this entire movie once. In one sitting. I have attempted to sit down and watch this movie in its entirety several times. And the only time I was able to fully watch it straight through, when there was alcohol involved. Yeah. So those are my picks. I'm sure you guys have your own suggestions. I'm sure you guys have your own ideas about it. Let me know on Facebook and Twitter, OtakuLife Jason, all one word. Maybe we'll get something going online or on the website, so you guys can join in the conversation there. I can't. These movies, you saw a pattern from step one, is that they focus so much on the CG and some of the action sequences that they forgot things like story, character development, even good casting for some of these characters. And it bites in the ass every single time. Now, granted, the ones that, like Fist of the North Star, made in 1995, it kind of fit for that era. But everything else that's made like post-2000, you had no excuse whatsoever. That's just my take. Alright, enough about me ranting. Let's get on to some other news real quick before I go crazy. You guys know I'm a big Vocaloid fan. I've been a fan of it since the beginning. When they started doing the concerts, it was amazing. And Yamaha's the company that made the Vocaloid software in the first place. And then in a partnership with Krypton, Krypton came out there, created their own voice packs, and then had the idea of putting custom anime characters with them, and just stirred an entire, I guess you can call it an entire industry. But Yamaha, even though they're still kind of pissed at Krypton, looks like they're not going to give up the fight anytime soon, because they are actually releasing new Vocaloids. They're actually releasing a pair of new Vocaloids for Vocaloid 3. These are going to be twin girls, Anon and Canon. And this is going to be set for release on March 3rd. It's going to be about $130 US. The software will be available for both Mac and PC. And if you actually have the Cubase Neo, you actually can. This is compatible with the Vocaloid editor. Now, according to the official character description, the twins do sing together as a tsundere duo. Annen's more of the dede of the set. She sings more melodious. She's a gentle voice. Canon, she has a stronger voice, more passionate, and she's the Soon. Okay, I can kind of see that just from the description of the two. They have a decent range and decent speed in terms of how fast they can sing. There is a demo already online. It's about 2 minutes long of both the girls. You can search online for, I think it's just Anon Canon Vocaloid. You can find their official website where they have additional images. They have a place where you can actually pre-order the software if you wanted to. For me, I definitely need to start ordering these when I have money, because I still need Vocaloid 3 for any of the girls whatsoever. Hell, just for the sole fact that Luca version 3 was just recently announced a couple weeks ago, kind of need it. So if you guys are a fan of Vocaloids and you want to take your shot at creating your own Vocaloid music, here you go. I know I talked about on Sunday's episode of From My Mother's Basement about Steins Gate. Just USA has finally announced that the English version of the visual novel has gone Gold Master, which means it's been done, it's set, it's been sent off to the distributor, or to be duplicated, and to be sent off for distribution. To coincide with this, they released a new trailer for it, so let's go check that out. Looks good. I'm very glad that I've already pre-ordered mine. Just remember that you still can pre-order it. Jazz was able to increase their pre-order amount, so there's still a few left. You can head over to either Jazz USA, Right Stuff, or you can head over to JList and pre-order either the regular download-only version or the limited edition. I fully recommend picking up the limited edition, which includes not only the game DVD, user manual, an original fan book, which is always nice to have, and also future Gadget Lab member pins with a display box. Now, granted, this is $59.90, it's $60, which is not bad for a visual novel, but also if you pre-order the limited edition, I believe you also get the download version. So you don't have to wait all that long for it, and you have some nice physical goodies as well. So you guys should check that one out as soon as possible. This will be released, I believe, March 31st. So you guys should jump on this ASAP. Yeah, so I still think about some of those movies that we talked about. Yeah, kind of crazy. I think that's going to be it for this episode, though, because any more talk about, I could have expanded that section by another 5 or 6 movies, and it would have pushed me to drink, just because I've actually seen all of these movies. I still remember them. That's the crazy bit. They were so bad, they ingrained themselves in my memory. But enough of that. If you guys have your own suggestions on what you think are the worst anime adaptations, let's go movie, let's go TV series, and I think the worst one for TV series was actually, there was a Chinese live action adaptation of Sailor Moon, where the girls grew up. They were like in their early 40s and had kids already, and they were summoned back, and when they transform, they go back into their 16-year-old selves. Oh, and by the way, Luna, the cat, was played by a plush animal just shaking on the screen. Oh yeah, maybe we'll do a best of the TVs later on, but I wanted to focus on the movies for this time. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Stay tuned for a post show. Get your guys' suggestions for Moment of Zen in the chat now. And we'll see you guys next week for another episode of AniBreak. So, I'm Jason. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and I'll see you guys next week.